To complete 100% of Dave the Diver, I'm gonna need to uncover the secrets of the ocean's depths, catch a whole bunch of fish, fight some big boy fishies in epic combat, and sell a whole bunch of sushi. There's also farming, seahorse racing, and this guy with a waifu pillow. Seemed good. It begins with Big Dave's toes soaking up the sun's rays.
Oh, what's with the feet, man? Settle down.
Suddenly I received a phone call from this silver fox, and it had something to do with sushi.
What is this? What's going on?
I packed my bags and heeded the call, and soon Cobra was screaming about a glorious business opportunity.
A sushi bar by the blue hole.
I had a quick dive to learn the basics of harpooning fishies before Cobra explained further. I'm in charge of collecting ingredients, and this philosophical bloke Bancho is the chef, and together we will sell many yummy foods. Just then a tremor shook the land and caused quite a mess in the sushi bar, and there was only one way to cover the repair cost: sell that sushi. So off I went to catch more fish. I was now free to explore the big blue hole, and every dive is kind of like a roguelite experience, with the map slightly changing. I found some wood, I found a chest with an underwater scooter in it, this helps you zoom fast for a bit, and I began harpooning fish. A lagoon triggerfish, blue tang, black spot sunbeam, Mediterranean parrotfish.
Hey, this big fella. You want some?
Soon my limited oxygen supply began dwindling.
Give me that O2, baby. Oh, it filled me right up. Nice.
My bags were full up as I'd reached my 9kg carry limit, so to collect this copper ore I made room by releasing one of them parrotfish back into the sea, and I stabbed this fried egg jellyfish to death before heading to the surface.
Alright, well we got a decent haul of fish, 3 wood, bunch of fish, 3 copper ore.
This dive log showed me how long I'd spent down there, how deep I'd gone, how many fish I'd caught, and how many items I'd obtained. And then it was time for me to moonlight as the manager of a sushi bar. Each night it'll be my job to set the menu using ingredients from my dives, and each dish has a specific price, so my approach was of course to focus on selling the more profitable dishes first. And with this fancy open animation, Bancho Sushi was ready for its first night of customers. I poured the green teas and delivered dishes to customers, and I made sure we didn't run out of wasabi.
Look at me dance. Look at me dance. Hurry up, Bancho. Cook faster. Customers waiting, mate.
And before long, the evening was over.
We get a little recap of the sushi's evening as well. We got 5 stars, I earned 5 artisans flame,
and a cheeky $66 profit. That night, I witnessed something rather disturbing.
You crashed into some float. Oh my gosh. What the heck? You just got slapped by a kraken. Oh dear.
So I guess those packages will not be delivered in a timely fashion. In the morning, I received a call from biology student Ellie, who insulted me for some reason before asking me to help her study the ecology of the blue hole. My first task was to find some agar and red starfish. I had a fiddle with my smartphone, and I'm pretty sure I downloaded a virus from this email. Do you want to buy nice cars, wear fancy clothes? Getting rich is easier than you think. Click the button below now.
Did I just get scammed?
And then it was time for my morning dive. I got into a battle with this angry titan triggerfish.
Oh.
I found some salt in this big red pot, I collected some red starfish and agar from my friend Ellie, and I stabbed this green dingus.
This big fellow's taking some damage.
After collecting 10 bits of meat from that humphead, I headed deeper.
I feel like I'm getting a bit too deep. Oh boy, my oxygen is going so fast down here.
This radio here lets you call for an escape pod, but with an angry yellow fish on my tail, I was in trouble, because every time Dave takes damage, a chunk of O2 is lost.
I am a dead.
I was rescued by Cobra, but only allowed to take 1 item with me, so I took some humphead parrotfish. After some red-faced gasps for air, I received a call from Duff.
Okay, Duff's gonna tell me about guns?
Indeed, Duff wanted me to grab 1 rope and 1 scrap iron from the depths so he could fashion it into a gun. And back into the water I went for my afternoon dive.
I found a baseball bat? Okay.
I found the rope and scrap I needed, as well as some more of the stuff I needed for Ellie's research that I'd lost due to the drowning incident.
Oh gosh. Get away. Get away.
This yellow idiot bothered me some, and what I didn't realize was that my diving suit only worked efficiently down to a depth of 40 meters. And this escape pod was just a tad deeper than that, so my oxygen was depleting fast.
Go, go, go. Escape pod. No!
I'd successfully collected the materials for Duff, so Duff's weapon shop app became available on my phone. I opened it up and had him craft me a basic underwater rifle.
What is going on? Duff, you're out of control, mate.
That is one way to craft a gun, I guess. That night, I tried out enhancing a dish. This involved a most excellent cutscene.
Oh, beautiful. What?
This increased the dish to level 2, upping the dish's sell price and taste rating. I'd used up all of that dish's ingredients to enhance it, so I couldn't actually sell any, but I managed to clear the $100 profit mark, which was enough to repair the sushi bar. And in the morning, I met a new friend.
Dr. Bacon. G'day, mate.
He told me of the lost Sea People civilization and asked me to hunt down an artifact of theirs supposedly 70 meters below. I'd already learned the hard way that my diving suit was incapable of reaching such depths, so I was introduced to iDiver, an app with which I can upgrade my equipment. My first diving suit upgrade was a freebie, so just like that I was now able to travel down to 80 meters. On my morning dive I found a gun crate, in which I found this triple shooter contraption.
Oh! That big fella slapped me.
I also found a poison-tipped harpoon upgrade. These upgrades are very handy, but they only last for the duration of the dive, and I frantically swam to the surface just in time. I'd collected 2 red starfish and agar by this point, so Ellie called to thank me, and she rewarded me handsomely.
Oh, she gave me 70 gold. And some soy sauce.
Finding that triple axle contributed towards Duff learning a new blueprint too. We paid a visit to the sushi bar and the repairs were now complete, and I unlocked the ability to decorate the interior as well as the Cooksta app.
This is how you take a profile picture, it's hard. It's good, I like it.
As you achieve certain milestones, you can rank up in Cooksta, unlocking some perks. I made sure to like Bancho's glorious photo and headed back out for the afternoon dive. I followed the dolphin, shooting and harpooning fish as I went, and I figured out the difference between 2 stars and 1 star.
Yeah, this one's still alive. I see. So I get 3 meat off it instead of 1.
The dolphin led me to Pinky, who I freed, earning a pearl as reward, and I caught a few more fish.
I saw a big fella down here. Is it a shark? Ooh, should I fight it? This is a bad idea. Oh crap. I keep missing. No. Oh, my oxygen just went really low. Run.
During those shenanigans, I used an O2 canister that I'd found in a yellow crate to replenish oxygen. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I would have died there, and I opted to steer clear of the shark for now. I increased my cargo box size to carry 13 kilograms up from 9, and at the sushi bar, this lady Yoshi, an old acquaintance of Bancho, was visiting. Now, Bancho isn't the most easygoing bloke. He's a bit aggressive, to be honest. So when Yoshi challenged him about how he was fired from some hotel in the past, he was upset and demanded I go hunt a shark, so that he could make a shark head dish so delicious that it would shut her up. I unlocked the recipe research tab, where I used some artisan's flames to research the dish in question. I gotta say, Bancho has some elite research techniques, no question. I'd caught a lot of fish by now, so I absolutely stacked the menu with goodies, and I only sold about 5 dishes out of 25, and the rest was wasted. Whoops. I made enough money to increase my air tank size though, so it'll do, I guess.
Hey, look at this fella. He's got a pedal. He's got a pedal boat.
Sato introduced me to Marinka, an app that keeps track of all the fish cards I've collected. Apparently I had already caught 29% of the fish species found in the blue hole shallows. On day 4's afternoon dive, I returned to take on the shark, and after 5 shots from my underwater rifle, I was victorious.
Give me a head. Oh, there's an idiot attacking me.
I filled my bags. In fact, I overfilled my bags to 14.1 kilograms out of 13.
Can I go up with an overloaded bag?
Apparently, yes. So prepare to witness me being an absolute loot goblin with overflowing bags all the time. And check out this Arvo's haul of fishies. From that dive alone, I completed another 8% of the Shallows Pokedex. I enjoyed this majestic montage as I enhanced white-tip reef shark sushi to level 2. But the real winner was that 1 shark head somehow turned into 5 whole roasted shark head dishes, which sell for a juicy $53 a piece. And it was time for Yoshi to have a taste.
She doesn't like it, but she's gonna eat it. I have a feeling, yeah. What is going on in this game, bro? It's got the most ridiculous little cutscenes. I love it. The ginger scent mixes with the strong flavor of the head. It's quite lovely.
Yoshi then agreed to help us hire some staff, so I put out a flyer and hopefully some fine upstanding citizens will apply for a job, because old mate Dave really does struggle delivering them dishes. We hit 10 followers on Cooksta, so we unlocked a bronze ring, earning some juicy rewards including some new dishes to research, and the night's profit was quite impressive.
Look at the bar graph. It's just gone ballistic.
I upgraded my air tank and cargo box, significantly improving my O2 and viable carry weight, and by this point I'd unlocked the triple axle blueprint, so I had Duff craft me one.
Oh, here we go. Oh, he's got like a robot. He's controlling some mech. Incredible. Yeah, boy, triple axle.
Dolphin Buddy greeted me, and Pinky was once again in a bind. I cut her free as the poachers above shot down at me, and I had a hard time of it with my crappy 3 damage knife, but I got there eventually.
Oh, Love hearts.
With a tank capacity of 145, I was under much less pressure, as I had more time to get around and find these O2 thingos. The shark head had been a smash hit last night, so I peppered another reef shark with bullets before heading below 50 meters for the first time. I was in medium depth territory now, and this meant new fish, and these fish had more health. It took about 5 harpoon hits to catch this mackerel and mullet. I collected 19 kgs of goods that morning, and in the afternoon dive I did some of these ones.
80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80.
I picked up a lightning harpoon upgrade, which greatly improved my damage, and it also made the catching minigame quite different.
What the hell? What have I done?
I also found one of these.
Why do I have a squeaky toy?
I found a bounty of new items down at this medium depth. Glass, a fossil, some lead, kelp and a pink seashell, and the Sea People artifact for Dr. Bacon.
Uh-oh. Oh dear me. Goodness gracious me, that's a kraken. Oi! He farted on me. Oi, no, don't do that.
I got into a scrap with this pufferfish too. The flyer we'd put out successfully attracted an applicant, so I gave her a job.
You caused nothing? Oh my gosh, I just got a slave, Kyoko.
I put Kyoko on as wait staff and immediately trained her up a bit, improving her stats. I researched the dishes I'd unlocked last night, set the menu and got to business. And Kyoko proved a great help because it was busier than ever. And it was this egg dish I just researched that sold best, contributing $229 to the $585 profit for the night. Dr. Bacon had analyzed the Sea People artifact by morning and created a radar to detect similar materials. So after upgrading my harpoon gun and air tank, I headed back beneath the waves. I filled up my bags as I went, and by the time I got to the reef shark,
Give me that shark meat, baby.
my bags were already full. I found a hush dart gun in a crate and discovered the fish that it put to sleep could simply be scooped straight out of the sea. No harpoon required. Better yet, these fish were 3-star, which meant they yielded heaps of meat. Having grossly over-encumbered myself with 2 narrow-barred Spanish mackerels, I headed back up, emptied my bags, and headed back down. I picked up my first sniper rifle this time, and it was a repeat. I obsessively filled my bags and completely ignored the radar my pal Bacon had provided me. That evening, I put out another flyer to find more staff, and when I enhanced this mackerel dish, Bancho got a little explosive.
Goodness gracious me. That's one way to enhance a dish.
I was able to put up a pretty impressive menu this night, and once again had a record-breaking profit. In the morning, Ellie called, asking me to collect some blue and brown shells for her biological investigations, and I discovered I'd already earned the likes needed to unlock silver rank on Cooksta. So I headed to the sushi bar, where these silly nerds gave everything a thorough look-see.
Cooksta. Cooksta approve. New recipes. New menu slot. Nice, nice, nice.
I had the necessary artisan's flames, so I immediately researched all 3 of those dishes, and enjoyed some insight into Bancho's meditative shenanigans in the process. I had a quick Marinka check, got to fish 'em all, and then it was back to it. I managed to grab a couple of the shells for Ellie, but when I got into vicious combat with this barracuda, I came away a little short of breath. I found my first net gun, but didn't get a chance to use it as I fled to the escape pod, and I was extremely lucky this yellow goober randomly lost interest. I'd collected all the shells for Ellie, so she called and revealed I'd been helping her with her eco-watcher progress, and now I had direct access to the app. I was able to complete Research Marine Plants 1 immediately for 20 points, and now I had a bunch more goals to work towards while diving. This of course fueled my insatiable drive to collect every plant, shell, star, or pretty much anything I saw. I murdered yet another shark, I caught a couple new fish types, and when vigorously slapping the spacebar to reel in this grey triggerfish, I weirdly said, "Yeah!" And I finally followed the radar into the limestone cave. I grabbed some sea grapes as I dodged these oscillating jellies, and I avoided the current that tried to dash me against the spiky spikes. Just as I sniped this anglerfish, Dr. Bacon informed me that I'd arrived at my destination. Rocks were blocking the entrance, so Bacon called me up for now, and as I left I thought I heard strange voices. I ascended, copped some spikes, and by the time I arrived at this escape pod, I had 37 kilograms of goodies in my bag. And I figured I might as well fill in some more and see how much I could get away with. So I samurai slapped some nerds and ended up with 41.6 kgs before I literally couldn't pick anything more up. Cobra wisely suggested we make a bomb to blow our way into that Sea People cave, but he needed me to track down some drone-related packages for a delivery that never arrived. And I had a feeling the delivery's failure to arrive was Kraken-related.
I think I'll hire this guy. No wonder you're so cheap. You suck. You have high appeal though. What does that even mean? Mitchell, you weirdo.
So I resolved to hire Raoul once I had the funds. Not Mitchell though, screw that guy. And this evening was a bit of a stinker. We simply weren't keeping up with demand and it was clear I needed more staff. I made my way back to the limestone cave to track down Cobra's packages that had gone missing. I found the motor, camera lens, and computer chip. And I found some sensor bomb traps.
What's it gonna do? Hey.
I received a saucy salty reward, and I unlocked the Hush Dart recipe. It was a free dive with no particular objective on the afternoon of day 7, and the highlight was an epic battle with this long-nosed saw shark, and once defeated, it provided me with 13 kilograms of meat. The long-nosed saw shark sushi sold for a solid $45, so I whacked some of those on the menu. And with this muscly beast cooking alongside Bancho, we had a much better time fulfilling the orders. Except right at the end, we ran out of wasabi.
I didn't make it. Oh, whatever. $919 profit. Holy dooly.
Cobra's bomb was ready in the morning, and Dr. Bacon gave me a camera in case I needed to document my discoveries. And Cobra opened up his shop. Here I can buy 3 items daily, and they last for 1 dive only. And I can sell stuff. I sold a few goodies immediately for a tidy profit. I upgraded my diving suit, so my new max depth was 230 meters, and my air tank, increasing its capacity to 220. And I looked through my dish options to get a sense of what fish I should try and catch to earn the most profit, which was a good idea in theory, but to be honest, once I was out in the water, I totally forgot what I was looking for. My general logic was big fish equals good profit, and I rode this philosophy through the entire playthrough.
Ow. Ow. Ow, stop.
I kept my eye out for eco-watcher goodies, especially these pink shells as they were at a premium, and soon I was blowing the way clear into the mysterious sea people cave. As you can see, this giant trevally meat had me over encumbered, but I didn't let that stop me, and into the cave I went. Inside was the sea people records chamber.
What do we got? This can't be a natural pillar. There are even mysterious characters engraved. This handsome fella, what's to learn? Seems to be of a warrior or king. It looks powerful. There seem to be scales on the lower body. Is this really a mural of the sea people? A merman.
I took a rather dodgy photo of the mural and grabbed this artifact, and once again I heard strange voices.
Alright, Mr. Bacon. Kevin? You reckon this guy's name's Kevin? Probably.
Kevin Bacon told me he would analyze the artifact in his lab and get back to me. And out of nowhere came John Watson and his environmentalist buddies from Sea Blue. He was a ragey kind of bloke, and he was displeased he'd heard an explosion coming from the sea. He promised to mete out his own brand of justice on any polluters. I tried to pay attention to the big fella, but all I could think about was Sherlock Holmes for some reason. In other news, that dive I just had was my longest and deepest yet. Pokedex check, 43% in the shallows, 53% in the medium depth area. I paid a visit to the sushi bar, where I put up an internet ad which will supposedly find me higher quality staff, and I researched a moray eel recipe.
Show us what you got, big fella. Oh, oh, look at him go. Oh yeah, he's got fire magic in his finger.
And I guess since I had an abundance of dish options, I decided not to bother with my afternoon dive on day 9, and I instead skipped time until evening hanging out with my guy the seagull. That night, a VIP appeared.
Vincent the Gourmet.
Yui from some TV show was with him, and they wanted to see what Bancho's cooking was all about. Vincent made disparaging remarks about Bancho's flashy style, and the good chef took that as a challenge, and told Vincent to come back in 2 days. Bancho planned to impress Vincent with a dish comprised of sea grapes and white spotted jellyfish, so he asked me to grab those for him. And we had a decent evening of business, with boiled yellowback fusilier coming out on top as our best-selling dish of the day. That night, I was shown a rather dramatic scene.
Oh my gosh.
In the morning, Dr. Bacon gave me back that artifact I'd collected, and he'd cleaned it up to discover that it was a Sea People bracelet that I could wear to survive for a period after running out of oxygen. And he informed me he'd found another signal, but it was so deep that a deep sea headlamp would be needed to travel there. I checked out the Sea People bracelet and discovered I had 2 charm slots, and I had Duff craft me a Hush Dart. And there's something about this close-up of him breathing on the gun that disturbs me. Anyway, I put the Hush Dart in my equipment loadout and gave Duff a call about the headlamp. He agreed to help me, but first...
Gotta find his Liz-chan figurine. Pink delivery box. Why are these dolphins just always in strife, man? Just chill.
I ended up in an epic battle with the pirates, harpooning them repeatedly, and I was grateful they were quite slow to aim with their giant red beams, as it was pretty easy to dodge their bullets.
Hey, get some, silly pirates. Leave my pink dolphin alone.
The dolphins performed a beautiful love hearts dance and gifted me a charm as a reward. The figurine I needed to find for Duff was supposedly near the wreck of that boat the Kraken had destroyed earlier, so off I went to find it, collecting as I went, of course. I tranquilized a white spotted jellyfish, as Bancho wanted one of these ones alive for Vincent's VIP challenge, and I ended up in battle with my second saw shark of this dive, but I never did find that wreck. I completed the net gun blueprint though, and the charm the dolphins gave me was a beauty.
Dash speed by 30%. Oh my gosh, that is a good charm.
I'm basically always dashing by holding shift while diving, so a 30% move speed bonus was great news. I continued with my shark destruction strategy, while mostly ignoring other fish at this point, unless I spotted one I needed for the Pokedex. But once again during this dive I was full up before ever finding that shipwreck, so Duff's figurine went unfound for today.
Oh, we got some applicants, man. James isn't too bad, but he's wearing a suspicious mask. I don't know. Not sure he's the kind of guy I want to hire.
I resolved to hire Tohoku and Yone once I had the money because they both had pretty juicy stats. I had long-nosed saw shark meat for days, so I enhanced it all the way up to level 5. And by this point I'd finally worked out that the ingredients for any dishes on the menu that aren't sold are wasted, so I tried to put just the right amount of stuff on the menu. Sadly, there were still 8 dishes uneaten when the night ended, so those went to waste, but it was still a record profit. Enhancing that saw shark sushi dish had gotten me the taste quality I needed for another cookster rank, by the way, so all I needed now was some more lax, and I gained plenty of those each night as the sushi bar grows. I sold 5 shark teeth for $500 and upgraded my cargo limit and harpoon damage before heading out and finding myself in vicious combat with a very chunky tiger shark. He took quite a few hits, but eventually went down, and he yielded a whopping 30 kilograms of meat, so with that I was well and truly over encumbered, so up I went. In the afternoon dive I found this shipwreck, but it wasn't the shipwreck, so no bingo.
Leave me alone, bro. Why are you so fast?
I used this random current to make my escape, and another day passed with the figurine remaining unfound. Poor Duff. I'd completed a few eco-watcher thingos by this point, and after this dive I completed this remove jellyfish task.
We got level 2. Eco health bracelet.
I know I sounded excited about that eco health bracelet charm, but it was actually pretty bad and I never used it. That night, Bancho cooked his jellyfish dish for Vincent Gourmet.
Here he goes. This is the jellyfish pose. He's cooking. Let him cook. Oh yeah, literally cooking. He's trying it. He's trying it. Oh, oh.
It's fair to say old mate absolutely loved his meal, but he was disappointed he didn't have a beer to go with it, so he gave us a beer fridge, unlocking the potential to serve beer to our customers. I also received a cheeky $1,000 and some Cookster lax. I had the funds to hire Tohoku, so I shuffled roles around before training up Kyoko, which unlocked her the ability to serve drinks to customers. I trained up Tohoku once too. I served 4 of these sea grape jellyfish dishes to customers that night, and each sold for a whopping $225, so it was another record profit. These 2 nerds gave the bar another once over, and some more recipes and perks were unlocked. I harpooned one of these red lionfish to chip away at the overpopulated invasive fish eco-watcher task, and then...
Yes, I found it, I think. Here we go. Uh-oh. No.
Oi! Duff was aghast, his figurine snatched away by the Kraken, and he insisted I go chase after it, but I had no way of getting past the wrecked boat just yet. I filled my cargo with goodies, including the first iron ore I'd found, before fleeing this big chonker.
You stuck there, you idiot? Run! Run! Alright, see you, nerd.
Duff gave me the gas cutter and instructed me to cut my way through to access below the wrecked boat. I turned in a couple of eco-watcher tasks, and I upgraded my cargo size to a viable weight of 63 kilograms. And then it was time to cut.
I can do this. I can stay in the circle. I believe.
I was indeed capable of staying in the circle, and soon a way down was open.
Okay, this is gonna be a bad idea. I sense a dangerous creature's presence. Yeah, let's enter. It's a real mess down here, you know? Oh. Sleeping.
Despite my understandable reluctance to venture too close to the sleeping monster, Duff insisted I sneak over and grab the box.
Uh-oh. Wait, what? No. Oh, gosh. Wait, do I actually have to fight it? I have to fight it. Oh lord.
And so began my first boss battle. I did my best to avoid the erupting tentacles, and I made my way in close and shot at the vulnerable eyeball. After being ink jettisoned, I made my way back for another eye shot.
No, don't slap me.
Ow! I endured a couple more slaps and another inky expulsion, but the Kraken could only take so many shots to the eyeball, and soon the beast was defeated. The mermaid captive was freed, and this dude collected her and fled, and I was free to collect some meat from the giant squid's tentacle, and Duff's Leochan figurine. I received the deep sea headlamp in return for my rescue effort, and Bancho whipped up a giant boss tentacle dish and we partied up a storm. And apparently this bloke was watching us, with less than savory intentions. In the morning, a hungover bacon came to instruct me to go deeper now that I had the headlamp, and then he went to the big vom.
Oh goodness. That's one mighty hangover. That was a solid 2-second stream of... For goodness sake, that's disgusting. Chapter 2, Into the Deep.
John Watson accosted me, furious at my mistreatment of the sea. He shot a grenade at me in anger.
My Poseidon.
We fought. I dodged his grenades and shot him in the face, and he lunged at me a few times, but I was victorious. And he shot a hole here to escape, promising I hadn't seen the last of him. I made my way deeper, and apparently I couldn't resist killing every shark I saw, even when it was probably wiser to just avoid the beasts.
I'm stuck. I'm dead. Oh, I might survive. Get this thing. Oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. These sharks are actually, they're serious business because they're flaming huge.
I headed past the 130 meter mark for the first time and entered the blue hole depths. A new region meant new fish types, and so I got to catching. They had a bunch more health down here, so it took 4 or 5 harpoon strikes per catch. I found a mining pick, which I used to collect some amethyst. I caught this fancy fan fish, and my bags were already full, so I had to practice some tedious inventory management. I then used a UV light I'd found to cause these tube worms to suck back into hiding, so I could make my way through this area.
It's the sea people from before. I come in peace. Suam. Do these guys like UV light?
I could not understand the fishy bloke, and he seemed unimpressed by my UV light, so I left them be for now, and headed down this passage beyond which I found the bones of some massive creature, as well as some scary looking foes. Fortunately, this game throws plenty of weapon upgrades and ammo refills at you, so I was able to shoot the megamouth shark aplenty.
Ah, he's got suction.
I also found this tranquilizer harpoon tip, so the shark kept going nap time, and soon I was claiming his meat, which weighed a whopping 23 kilograms total. I continued on, very much over encumbered and therefore fatter and slower than usual. I tried to kill this big crabby boy, but he was impervious to my harpoon's damage.
Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh crap. It exploded.
I decided swimming into a bunch of kamikaze jellies was a bad plan while over encumbered, so after making space to grab this pretty purple starfish, I headed back up, remarking,
Alright, well there certainly is a lot to do down deep.
I received some rewards for my progress, and Dr. Bacon suggested we work on a translator, so he instructed me to track down a Sea People stone tablet, microphone, and amethyst from the depths. I admired the fish I'd reeled in, and I was pleased to see the megamouth sushi sold for a solid $95 a pop, and I received a call from Udo, a reporter for the magazine Weekly Fish. He asked me to take some photos for him. I also turned in a couple of marine plant research tasks for EcoWatcher to get me to level 3, which earned me another charm that I never used. I stumbled across a cheeky little octopus who fled through this blocked off passage. So I whipped out my gas cutter and cut my way in with precision. And just as I was dreaming of eating it, the annoying mollusk escaped me again, but it left behind this rusty octopus bracelet. I found a photo spot where I took a majestic photo of this oarfish, and I found this corner was jam-packed with jellies. And since the jellyfish party was fast approaching, I figured I might as well catch a bunch. A poison harpoon was my weapon of choice.
Get the dots on. Yep, get the dots ticking. Big strats.
I also found a grenade launcher with which I defeated this frilled shark.
Whooshka.
I then remembered I was supposed to be doing a quest, so I headed back beneath the shipwreck where I found the microphone, and to the Sea People record chamber where I found a stone tablet.
Alright, we got everything. Alright, we got everything for the language translator. Good news. Good news, good news.
You can also hear my son speaking a language that needs translating in the background there. Topical stuff.
I spent 24 minutes down there doing that nonsense.
That octopus bracelet I found turned out to be a charm, allowing me to dash short bursts for further increased speeds, so I was pleased about that. And Udo was pleased with my oarfish photo, so he gave me a reward.
Who dares interrupt me? Otto, can you chill? Settle down on the beers, mate.
Apparently this bloke Otto was an amazing diver before he took a harpoon to the knee. The rambunctious fellow wanted a moray eel dish, but those can only be caught at night, and so suddenly I unlocked night diving. I didn't go this night though. I instead sold a variety of shark sushi to my hungry customers, hitting a profit of over $1,300. Dr. Bacon delivered me the newly crafted Sea People translator in the morning, and I unlocked the ability to upgrade my weapons at Duff's shop.
What's with the inspirational music?
And since I had the materials, I immediately had him upgrade my underwater rifle to rank 2. I paid the sushi bar a visit, where I gave the cat Momo some high quality cat food I'd found under the sea, and I hired Yone and added her to my kitchen staff. I also did some staff training. Back in the ocean, I ran into my old friend Pink Dolphin and took a photo, and I headed to see the Sea People. I had a chat with Suam.
Your name sounds very similar to broken toilet lid. Nice.
The mermaid Ramo was unwell after her encounter with the giant squid, so Suam asked me to make a dish out of feather coral and lily coral for her. After a quick search of the area, I found both. I took a photo of some opars, and I fought my first one of these, which had a rather complicated name.
Rhino.
I continued deeper, well past the 200-meter mark, where I found my first cookie cutter shark, before heading back up to give the feather and lily coral to Bancho, which he aggressively turned into porridge. This humpback whale made me feel small before I wandered down to feed Ramo her porridge, which helped her recover somewhat. The Sea People were suspicious of me, but I'd helped them, so Ramo entrusted me with carrying her back to the Sea People village. On the way there was another tremor, and some blowy uppy boys may have done some damage to my precious cargo.
No!
Let's try that again. We caught up with Suam, who'd discovered a blockage, and we thought perhaps falling rocks would clear the way if only I removed this giant stake from up above. But apparently I needed better gloves to achieve that, so I headed to the surface to see about a glove upgrade.
Alright, we're going in for our first nighttime dive. Let's go.
It was a lot quieter down here at night, but I did encounter a couple of fresh fish varieties, a box jellyfish and a moray eel for Otto. I poked around for a while but didn't find anything else new, and I discovered I couldn't go below 130 meters at night, so after nearly dying to this tiger shark, I headed to the sushi bar, as there were still 2/3 of the evening to go even after my time in the water.
Listen, you expletive. I heard you the one time, so stop babbling. What in the world? I'm sorry, it wasn't me. You rotten blowfish, you can't be food.
This murderous girl demanded a very specific dish, and lucky for me, I had all the ingredients on hand, so I immediately added it to the menu.
It's gonna heal her of whatever trauma.
The little girl broke down, explaining this was her father's favorite dish, and he disappeared after never returning from a dive. The dancing Cleone puppet had been a gift from her dad, and she asked me if I might find a real one for her in the depths. But Cleone are too small to harpoon, so she suggested I make use of a net to catch them. I also served Otto his moray eel dish.
I took him back to his childhood. That's actually beautiful. The power of food, man. It's so profound.
Otto told me to meet him in the empty lot nearby for a reward. Also, I attempted to serve my first beer, but the head on it was pretty huge. I'm not too sure the customer would have been pleased with that one. On the morning of day 15, Otto showed me around his fish farm, where I can keep whatever fish I like. And if I have 2 or more of the same type, they'll breed. Every time I catch a fish, I have a chance of collecting roe, which will be sent here and hatched, thus growing the farm. I received my new heavy-duty gloves, and enjoyed a little tutorial on how to pick up big old boulders to drop to good effect, how to grab onto danglies, and how to pull stakes. Good stuff. I caught a couple of Cleone. I had another encounter with the annoying squid, and after a thrilling chase I found another rusty charm, and I used some well-timed spacebar hits to yoink out this stake, causing the boulders to crash down. It wasn't enough, but fortunately there were more stakey boulders around here, and these 2 crashed down, and this cleared the way. We headed down, and there were more tremors and a rather terrifying squiggly monster zoomed by, and in the next chamber...
That's a good looking eel. Here we go.
The wolf eel did some big sucks, but I hung onto the anchors. It did some big snaps too, and I did my best to dodge those. This drive-by slap hit me, but it left the beast's glowy tail exposed to attack.
No. I am anchored. I am anchored.
And more quickly than I expected.
Quick, shoot at the thing. Oh, is it dead already? How did I kill it already? I'm an absolute unit.
I claimed some meat from the wolf eel's body, and we found ourselves at the entrance to the Sea People village. These guards were not a big fan of humans, but luckily Ramo is daughter to the king, so she was my ticket to meet him immediately.
Wait, who is this next to you? I'm Dave. I thought you brought a blue manatee, but this is a human. Strange things have been happening around here recently. The tremors, the ice melting off the divine tree. What?
Ramo was convinced the Sea People needed my help solving the troubles with this divine tree, but Tenzin was not convinced, until yet another tremor put the fear into him, and he agreed to let me help if I first earned the trust of his people. And so chapter 3 began, a request from the Sea People.
Give me some kind of fast travel down here, please.
They heard my plea and gave me the Sea People mirror to put on my boat, and this thing grants instant teleportation down to the Sea People village. After a long day in the Sea People village, I arrived back late, so we missed the night of sushi bar shenanigans, but Yoshi rocked up, so I poured her a beer and she gave me some insight into Bancho's backstory. Basically, back when he had hair, he used to work at the same hotel as Yoshi, and a famous food reviewer named Lois Crawford came in, and Bancho, against Yoshi's advice, made her a shark head dish and she hated it. And that's why Bancho is now bald. The next day, I began meeting the Sea People villagers. Mima, the restaurant owner, had me deliver lunch to the guards, and the sea shop guy Kazan was aghast I didn't know about King Long, ancient leader of the Sea People. So he had me get a tribute flower to place in front of the old king's statue. And over at this game parlor, Lynchen sent me off to catch some seahorses that had escaped. I searched around and netted the 4 escaped horsies. And from these 3 quests, I earned a total of 40 credit towards the 100 I needed to win over the Sea People. And I won some Bay, too, the Sea People's currency. And then I raced a seahorse. Either the seahorse they gave me sucked, or I sucked, because I lost. I blame the seahorse. Either way, I thought it was a rather random minigame.
That was some most excellent seahorse racing.
I returned from my afternoon dive, and another quest had popped up, to retrieve this lady's beluga whistle that she lost while gambling. To win it back, I had to do some gambling of my own, and win against this grub in a game of memory cards. Fortunately, he absolutely sucked, so I won and got the whistle back. I also registered a seahorse I'd caught, and this one had significantly better stats, so I went on to dominate some races, including this one with some obstacles that I struggled to avoid. And I earned myself a bunch of currency as reward for exploring exploiting an innocent seahorse and forcing it to race itself ragged. That lady actually gave me the beluga whale whistle, so I now had the ability to summon a beluga to run around town for a cost of 7 bay, so I had a little joyride.
Majestic beluga.
Mima gave me a quest to collect 3 tube coral, so I headed out to track those down. I found all 3, while of course destroying every shark I came across for their juicy meat. That night, famous filmmaker Michael Bain came into the sushi bar, claiming there was no way our establishment was capable of producing food good enough to inspire him. Bancho was of course willing to rise to the challenge, so he told Mr. Bang to come back in 3 days and asked me to track down some ingredients, including a special rice. For now though, it was jellyfish party time, so I stacked the menu with jelly dishes and opened the bar for business. We had a pretty successful night, but we didn't seem to get that much extra money from the jellyfish dishes, so I wasn't that impressed by the party, but the fireworks were nice. Otto had overheard our need for rice last night, and he'd somehow whipped up an entire farm by morning, so I was now able to farm rice. All I had to do was pull up the weeds. And here is a little Marinka update. 50% of the shallows, 66% of the medium depth, 86% of the depths, and 5% of the seahorses. I had a session in the shallows, collecting stuff for Eco Watcher goals and of course harpooning a great many fish. And during the afternoon dive, I had an encounter with bluefin tuna for the first time. Cobra had given me a steel net sensor bomb, so I placed that down and it caught one of the fast moving fishies. And I was able to call down a drone to scoop it up and take it up to the surface. This new piece of kit let me send big fish up, saving a bunch of bag space, but I could only use it once per dive. Along with the tuna, some other fish varieties had materialized in the shallows, including this marbled electric ray. I traveled all the way down to the Sea People village, where I turned in those tube corals from yesterday, and I picked up a few fresh quests. All of these sent me out into the wild. One of them had me following this jelly, which led to this pink octopus.
There you are. You pink weirdo.
I lured it out with some food and rescued it. For another quest, I killed this megamouth shark and retrieved a ball from its belly. And for another, I collected more feather and lily coral. And I got enough meat for 27 dishes from that one tuna the drone collected. That is quite efficient. I turned in a bunch of crap to the various Eco Watcher goals I was working towards. As you can see, I'd collected quite a few shells by this point. And I headed out for a nighttime dive. On certain stormy nights, strange vortexes appear. And through these vortexes, there are terrifying things to find.
That's a cool idea, man. The truck hermit crab.
I died a couple of times trying to defeat this boss, as he was quite tough. I had to drop these explosive barrels on him, but I kept finding myself stuck against the wall as he continually charged me, and he had a habit of whacking me with his giant pincers, and causing debris to drop on my head. I eventually got the hang of things, moving to avoid his swipes and successfully landing them explosions. I actually managed to swim right over the big fella, and dodged enough attacks to land enough barrels, and so the foe was vanquished. I claimed the meat of his strong right pincer. The second reason for my nighttime dive was to take a beautiful photo of a manta ray.
It really is a terrible photo.
At the sushi bar, I discovered I was able to research meals using both the wolf eagle boss's tail and the hermit crab boss's pincer, and they produced 10 dishes each that sold for a whopping $5.50 a piece. Before I knew it, I had all 20 dishes on the menu.
Okay, it's too late now. I've selected them. I hope I sell 20 dishes, because that'll make me 11 grand. Is this for real? What the heck?
Thanks to my night dive, the evening's trading period was shorter, so I sadly served only 14 out of the 20 dishes, and over 3 grand in sales went to waste.
But I did earn 8 grand profit. Holy crap.
I used that bounty to upgrade my cargo limit yet again, and I upgraded the salvage drone so I could use it twice per dive. The problem is you can only get the steel net sensor bomb thingo if it's available to buy from Cobra, so catching these big fishies without killing them isn't so easy. I killed a bunch of fried eggs for an eco goal, and spent ages trying to find the Sea People record chamber again. 5 minutes later, I finally found it, and I collected this wedding song stone slab for a quest, and I was pleased to snag a giraffe seahorse too, another for my collection. In fact, I caught a rather absurd amount of seahorses while trying to find that record chamber. I turned in a bunch of those quests down in the Sea People village, and one of them prompted a spontaneous wedding, during which a tremor shook the place, causing King Long's big left arm to fall off, which was probably a bit too much excitement for the happy couple. All the questing had endeared me to the locals, so I returned to Tenzin and he let me in on the Sea People's plight. Their divine tree has roots down in a glacier region, and below that it draws warmth from hydrothermal vents. But the balance was off recently. Too much heat was rising and the ice was melting, causing the divine tree to falter, resulting in sickness among the Sea People. He asked me to head down there to try and figure out what the problem was. The thing is, the key to get down there was in an abandoned and somewhat haunted cave. I had a decent night of business with a few choice dishes on the menu, and then...
What the heck is going on?
Duff had a dream, and for some reason I had to be involved. Honestly, I'm not sure Duff's weirdo dreams are any of my business, but here we are. I harvested some rice in the morning and I had a chat with a whale.
What you want, big whale?
I finally found a 5th Cleone for that quest for the little girl, and I don't think this big chonker Cleone was very happy about it.
Ah! What the heck?
And so I ended up in battle with the Cleone Queen. I grabbed a sniper rifle from this weapon crate and did big loopy-loopies around her, avoiding her attacks. And soon the big girl was dying in an eruption of green. I collected the queen's tentacle and, amazingly, a photo of the girl Maki. I gave Ellie a call and played her the whale cries I recorded. Apparently Ellie speaks whale, so she determined that the whale was crying out looking for its offspring. So I agreed to keep an eye out for a baby humpback. On my next dive, I heard some whale cries almost immediately, and after removing this clump of boulders, I found the baby whale in this cave. It was a little stressed, so I gave it some pats.
It's okay, little fella.
Of all the mini-games, vigorously petting a whale by wiggling my mouse around has got to be the winner. I led the whale out and protected it from a great many predatory fish as I went, and soon we were in more open seas and we were accosted by a goon squad of sharks. But Big Mama came out of nowhere to sort them out, and the two were reunited. When I emerged, I received a special thank you from the whales, and the scene was genuinely pleasing to my eyeballs. It was another stormy night, so I headed down in search of another vortex, and before finding it, I caught a copper shark and a blacktip reef shark, two new shark varieties to add to the Pokedex, and I took a photo of a very beautiful fish.
Red-lipped batfish. That is an ugly fella.
After a little more nosing around, I found the vortex.
He's got boxing gloves. Oh lord.
The mantis shrimp was indeed a punchy boy. He did a big burp to push me back into these spikes, and when he wound up a big hook, I was supposed to protect myself with this wrecking ball pulley system, but it didn't quite work on my first try. Eventually, he gassed out and needed a quick breather, so I shot him in the eyeball. Sadly, I lost round 1, but by round 2, I had a read on his technique and it was all me. When I timed the pulley mechanism properly, the big boy stunned himself on it, so I got extra pot shots in, and soon I was delivering a magnificent KO. I took some chunks off his tail as reward. After a very long day of dives, I finally returned to Bancho Sushi, where I gave the picture to Maki. On the back there was a button with a recorded message from Maki's father.
If you're watching this, then I probably failed my expedition, and your dream of becoming a chef, I hope it comes true. I'll keep watching you from afar, so don't ever lose your smile.
And with that, Maki decided she wanted a job, so I gave her one. Except her stats kind of sucked, so I didn't actually put her on anything for now. Also, Michael Bang was here to try his special dish.
That is an absolute platter of goodness. Here he goes, here he goes. Oh, he's chewing. Oh.
I believe he liked it. We earned some gold, some likes, and a poster as rewards. I trained up Yone some more, unlocking the Cooking Plus Plus perk, which sent her cooking skill through the roof. And since it was a short night of business after my nighttime dive, I just put the Cleone Queen Boss dish on the menu and sold all 10 at $5.50 a pop. I collected a bunch of yellowfin and bluefin tuna on day 20. I did a quest to save this turtle from choking on a plastic bag, and I also glued King Long's arm back on. I went with Duwa the blacksmith to collect fruit from the divine tree, as he needed to use them to reopen his workshop. And Tenzin had Suam guide me to the abandoned passage, so I could search for the glacier key.
What the heck, man? Are you serious?
After this little puzzle, I got my hands on the key, but getting out with it wasn't so simple. The zombie mermaids were hungry. I used extreme stealth maneuvers, avoiding their patrols and hiding behind statues.
Run! Run! Oh! Oh! Go. Oh gosh.
Just in time, I made my escape.
Suam's not even here. He ran away because he's too scared. Coward!
And out of nowhere, John Watson. This guy just doesn't give up. This fight was about luring old mate's bombs back onto him, as my weapons did no damage due to his armor. I had to avoid his hooks and charges too. It was a pretty annoying fight, to be honest. It was hard to get the bombs to actually deal damage to John Watson, and in phase 2, this cloud of mines only made things harder. So I died 3 or 4 times until I finally realized the game gave me a baseball bat in this crate for a reason. I could use Dave's elite athleticism to whack the grenades, which not only made it easier to hit the big fella, it also made them do extra damage. And so I finally defeated Mr. Watson and picked up some broken mechanical parts. When I returned to Tenzin, he explained those zombies, the Gadon, were creatures created over 800 years ago when the Sea People civilization was at its greatest. The success of the Sea People's technology came from the powerful properties of the Divine Tree's fruit, but an ambitious technician named Dash wanted more. He found a way to infuse the power from the fruit into the anatomy of some of his workers, and they did become stronger and more efficient for a while, but they soon lost their minds and went zombie mode. That night, Sammy the rap star appeared demanding vegetable sushi. Bancho promised him some in 3 days and told me to go speak to Otto about growing some veggies. And then we had a tuna party, at which I managed to waste 25 of this bluefin tuna dish. Whoops. That night, I caught up with the adventures of Dr. Bacon, who had tracked Sea People signals to this cave.
From controlling bacon? That's outrageous.
Inside, murals depicted race relations between humans and sea people. Apparently, sea people gave humans divine fruit as a gift, and humans misunderstood the gift and thought the fruit was supposed to be eaten, which is a fair assumption, I guess, but it made them sick, so they took vengeance on the sea people, and thus the enmity between the races was established. He also found a sea people rebreather. As he emerged, these pirates awaited him, looking to steal whatever he'd found, and so began an epic boat chase. I did my best to dodge these rocks and their bullets, and it didn't end well for the pirates. I visited Otto in the morning, and I was now able to plant vegetables alongside my little rice farm. I planted 3 carrot and eggplant seeds, as these are the veggies I needed for the vegetable sushi, and I discovered Otto now had a shop where I could buy seeds or extend the farm. I headed down to the Sea People village and discovered Mima's restaurant was now open, and she sells dumplings that give various buffs that last for the duration of 1 dive. I never really bothered with these, but I did give a seaweed dumpling a try on this day, and it was worth it to see this glorious cutscene. I gave this farmer bloke a seaweed dish Bancho had cooked up, and he loved it, so he agreed to make an underwater farm area available to me. And then it was finally time to enter the glacier passage. There was a mural to photograph and some new fish types to catch. In fact, I had an Eco Watcher goal to catch 15 glacial passage fish, so I went nuts on the harpoonage. And when I headed right through this door, I found myself in a big puzzly room. It was a matter of moving these walls up and down to make my way through the first section. Next, I had to avoid a zombie boy, and then another mural to photograph and some more fish to catch. Down here and around the corner, some rotating.
Good rotation. Good rotation.
And I discovered that these zombies don't appreciate bright light from the divine fruit, so this became another trick up my sleeve to avoid the hungry fellas. The magnitude of rotations cracked up to another level for this puzzle, and soon I was discovering another use for the fruit, melting ice. Puzzle passage 1 complete, and by pulling this chain, a shortcut was now open too. After some more harpooning, I headed into the passage on the left. Rotation and walls sliding up and down, and big flashbangs bamboozling the undead all played into this first puzzle room. And at the end of it, I placed the divine fruit in this thingo that somehow concentrated the fruit power into a glorious beam of light that melted the ice on this mural and shot out all the way to the central chamber, striking this mirror. The mirror wasn't angled quite right though, and a rock was jammed in there. So I headed to the surface to ask Cobra about a tool I might use. That was by far my deepest dive to date, having reached a depth of 373 meters. Marinka update, 50% in the glacier passage already, and all the other regions were looking pretty good too. New fish continued appearing in the shallows. This sheep's head, and a stingray that I killed in revenge of Steve Irwin. Cobra told me I might find a crowbar down where the delivery boat sunk, so I headed there and found yet more new fish varieties. A hammerhead shark who very nearly killed me with its wild thrashing in these tight spaces, and some bouncy crabs. I managed to flatten the crabs with some well-placed rocks, I yanked out the crowbar, and I defeated the shark and called down the drone to scoop up its lifeless body. I realized I had lots of money, so I bought the harpoon, air tank, and diving suit upgrades before serving up some rather profitable dishes for the evening. The tropical fish sushi set and stellate puffer special sushi were now possibilities thanks to my new rice field, and they combined to make me a healthy profit. And then I got a Tamagotchi.
I got a Tamagotchi fish. What is going on?
And Udo introduced me to a new project to catch exotic fish each week, and he gave me a tracker to help find them.
Here's the weirdo. Fishmon. Oh, he headbutts.
Unfortunately, I failed to grasp the assignment, and I accidentally killed the strange fish instead of catching it alive. I had an epic battle with this stabby marlin, which I called a drone down to collect, and I played with my Tamagotchi a bit before heading down to try again. This time I was less trigger happy, and I was able to catch my first fishmon. I needed to catch a bunch of comb jellyfish for an Eco Watcher goal, so I cleaned up a few of those before pursuing a quest to track down a lost child in this passageway. The child had headed here to witness this underwater lake, which to be fair is quite pretty, but they'd never returned to the village, and I found out why.
Oh, that's an ugly fella.
Goblin Shark was a fitting name, I thought, and I was dealing pretty good damage because I'd found a juicy poison harpoon upgrade on my way down here, so this fight was pretty easy. I claimed some of the Goblin Shark's fatty meat and escorted the child back to the village. I discovered the underwater farm was ready, so I planted a seaweed seed I'd been given, and I paid to have the farm expanded in size, which was a good use for all that sea people currency I'd been earning while questing. And I hit up the seed shop where I bought mainly sea grape seeds as I knew of a dish or two that could make use of them. I also did some more seahorse races, because winning these earns you some good money. The veggies had grown, so I harvested them and replanted, and I kept this night's menu very simple, only serving boiled mantis shrimp from that boxing boss I'd beaten earlier, as I wanted all 10 dishes to sell. And sell they did, for $650 each. Very nice. I fed and played with my Gyao Tamagotchi thing in the morning, and I tried to make a habit of this as I wanted to evolve it, and I returned to make use of my crowbar, shifting the mirror and melting the ice blocking the way down.
What is this thing?
That thing has a big jaw, and it tried its best to swallow me whole. Very rude behavior. I caught a dumb jumbo octopus, and blobfish too. When photographing this mural, I had to wipe frost off the lens, and through this door to the right were more puzzles. Mirror puzzles to bounce that light around and melt ice, some more slidey walls, another mural with frosty lens action, and down here more mirrors to slide around.
Align those mirrors, melt the ice. Beamy, go there, melt the ice.
Soon I'd cleared the way to the next chamber, and it was a little dark, so I whacked this divine fruit for light.
Oh gosh. What is that? Holy dooly. That's a little extravagant.
It's fair to say this handsome barnacle-encrusted gentleman is the most terrifying boss of Dave the Diver, and it's a boss fight unlike any of the others too. It's less of a fight and more of a high-octane chase.
Uh-oh. Giant, get on.
I did my best to avoid the ice as we sped along this passage.
Miss me again. Ah, crap. Go. Ah, the stalag, whatever they're called. Ah, hit the light fruit. Well, what are you doing? Oh, clutch. Big slaps.
I was cornered, but with a well-timed dodge, I evaded his clutches and he knocked himself out, opening a way down in the process.
This game's got a lot more to it than I was expecting. Oh. He's coming again, alright? He didn't stay knocked out for long.
It was more of the same, except vertical now, and fast. I bumped the ice a few times and suddenly I was running low on air. I could not afford to bump into anything else or I would die. Thankfully, a cutscene arrived to save me, and the big fella had yet another big crash. But he wasn't done yet, and...
No! Every time you hear. Okay, I'll allow it. I'm glad I didn't have to do that again, because that was terrifying.
It reloaded me at the start of phase 3, so no worries.
Q, big dodge. No. E, big dodge.
I made it through to the end of the run. I pulled this stake out, but the beast almost grabbed me. Thankfully, I was saved at the last second by the one and only Suam, and so the giant Gadon was defeated. Suam and I pulled these levers together, reactivating this portal which allowed us to fast travel back to the village. And having finally cleared the glacier passage, I'd arrived at the glacier region, but it was too cold for me to continue down any further. So Tenzin gave me a special cloth made from divine tree fruit, and he suggested I have my people turn it into a cold-resistant diving suit.
Glacier passage 100%. Woo!
I headed down for a quick dive into the shallows where I caught my first thresher shark, and that night it was time for MC Sammy to enjoy Bancho's vegetable sushi.
Who comes up with these cutscenes, man? It's absolutely glorious.
It turned out Sammy was Otto's son, and they hadn't seen each other for 8 years because Otto got stranded on a desert island or some nonsense, but now they enjoyed a touching reunion. I received a reward for my efforts, but this was the true prize.
The vegetable sushi sells for $3.75?
I can get all the ingredients for veggie sushi from the crop and rice farms with almost zero effort, so I was pleased. For tonight though, I kept the menu simple, stacking it mainly with some goblin shark belly roast, as I wanted to make sure all of those sold, you know the drill, and they did indeed sell, and it was another tidy profit. Bacon paid a visit in the morning and said all he needed to make a cold-resistant diving suit was a mechanical part, much like the one I'd claimed after defeating John Watson, except that part was broken, so I needed another. I paid a visit to Otto's farm, and his son Sammy had decided to hang around and set up a chicken coop, so I now had a chicken laying eggs for me daily. I bought another free-range chicken to double up on that, and I named it Gordon. I bought extra space for both the rice paddy and crop farm, and I bought some nutrient compost and applied it to both fields to enrich the soil. And with not much else to do, I opted to skip the day's dives and wait around until evening, when Vincent Gourmet brought this chef Wang Peng into the sushi bar and laid down the challenge to Bancho, a cooking competition with a Chinese food theme, set to occur 2 nights hence. We already know Bancho loves a challenge, so he gave me a list of ingredients to gather for him in preparation. After another solid evening with veggie sushi as the best seller, it was time for the heist. Since that mechanical part I'd taken from John Watson was unusable, Cobra decided our best bet was to break into Sea Blue's headquarters and steal some working parts. And so I whacked on my black diving gear and got stealthy with it. I followed one of the Sea Blue drones back to their facility and quickly snuck in behind it. And what I found was more disturbing than a hidden base. Sea Blue was supposed to be environmentalists, so why did they have copious amounts of dolphin meat? I snuck like an absolute ninja, hiding behind boxes and crates, tiptoeing at speed while the armed thugs' backs were turned, hiding in giant freezers, probably next to a bunch of frosty dolphins, and at the top I found some random military rations, so I of course ate them. Mucho delicioso. And then I found the parts I was looking for.
Got a picture of me? What are these people up to?
And just as I did, these nerds caught me, so...
Out the window? Yeah.
I unlocked the ability to upgrade my dive knife, so I did, and my farm had expanded, so I planted another row of carrot and eggplant. Down at the Sea People village, Duwa's blacksmith was now open. You can buy materials here for high tier gun upgrades, and you can sell him stuff for Sea People currency too. And that afternoon I collected up a storm, killing Fang Teeth for an Eco Watcher goal, and dropping rocks on stargazers' heads. After another evening at the sushi bar enjoying a marlin party, Dr. Bacon showed up and gave me the cold resistant suit, which I immediately upgraded to rank 2, allowing me to descend to a rather deep 800 meters.
That's how I get the best taste above 150. I've been wondering for so long, how do I get it above 150? I just remembered last night. You can enhance dishes.
And so I resolved to go on an enhancing spree so I could get my cooks to rank up to platinum, as I'd been stuck on gold for ages. And then it was time to venture into the glacial area with my new heat-resistant suit. All the fish here were of course brand new varieties, and I needed to catch a bunch for an Eco Watcher goal, so I set about harpooning willy-nilly. This Antarctic octopus put up a fight.
Leave me alone. Yeah, alien.
I found some aquamarine, and down here I took a photo of a rather impressive jellyfish. At a depth of roughly 535 meters, I found I could go no further, as it was ironically too hot down there, so I continued exploring the glacial area. I caught a starry skate, a narwhal, and eventually over 25 fish total, before finding a sealed door with a writing-covered slab next to it. I took a photo of the slab to show to Dr. Bacon and returned to the surface. I showed the photo to Old Mate and enjoyed this riveting deciphering minigame where I rubbed away the orange, and we discovered that written on the slab was a spell of some sort. Bacon suggested I ask the Sea People about it. I turned in a couple of Eco Watcher goals and was pleased to see I'd caught 47% of the glacier area fish already. And when I checked on my Gao,
Oh, evolved into a beluga.
I harvested and replanted at both my above and below sea level farms before chatting to Niamo about the writing on the slab. She said there are 3 large doors in the glacial area, and in each of them is a switch, and when all 3 are activated, the Divine Tree control room can be accessed. As for the writing on the slab, it was a spell to open the first door, so I needed a friend to come help speak it.
Some sick dance moves. Oh, thrusting. The spell involved thrusting. Good stuff.
Into the first glacial cave I went. I rotated this thing, dodged some spikes, and rotated these things a bit before pressing the button. And somehow the ball actually went where it was supposed to go, clearing the way down. There were some more new fish types down here, so I caught them and headed through to this area where King Long's arms were looking a little dislocated. I spun the wheels as a way to perform corrective surgery on the big fella, and once everything was in its proper place matching the mural in the background, the first device was activated towards accessing the Divine Tree control room. I explored the glacial area some more, keeping an eye out for any fish I'd missed last time. I fought a narwhal, and this big boy paw beagle shark very nearly killed me.
Ah! No. Please. Oh.
I spoke to Tenzin about the control room, and he agreed accessing it was obviously the best way to figure out what was going wrong with the Divine Tree. So he asked me to find the other 2 caves and activate the remaining switches. When I emerged from his palace, these nerds were worriedly looking for a lost beluga, and they asked me to see if he'd gone to the glacial area, so I immediately went to investigate. I was accosted by this big Greenland shark while searching.
I see beluga. How do I get in there?
Once I made it around to the injured beluga, this octopus taunted me, doing silly willies with its tentacles. I am easily triggered, so I gave chase and eventually cornered the beast, and I was given an option.
Harvest. No mercy. I've already killed like 4 of these anyway, so who cares?
The octopus had an antidote for its poison, which makes absolutely no sense, but I took it to the beluga regardless, and after a slurp of the stuff, it returned to good health. By the way, that was a 33-minute dive, which was still nowhere near as long as my record of 51.5 minutes. Anyway, I turned in yet more Eco Watcher quests, and then it was time for a great cook-off between Bancho and Wang Peng. I took control of Bancho's cooking for some reason, and all the cooking minigames were pretty straightforward, except for the bit where I had to coat the fish with starch, and my vigorous wiggling didn't seem to be very effective. It all worked out though, as our dish was victorious with a score of 99. I enhanced the vegetable sushi dish a few times, causing its taste score to climb up to 210, just 40 shy of the 250 needed for another cook's to rank. And I enhanced a bunch of other random dishes I had heaps of ingredients for too. The downside of enhancing the veggie sushi was that I used up all the ingredients and couldn't actually sell any tonight, so I settled selling some other stuff for a smaller profit. On my next dive, I encountered a variation of the big blue hole I hadn't seen before, and it featured these angry striped catfish. And for some reason, I tried to fight them with a squeaky toy.
Ah! These guys are owning me. I'm gonna die.
I fled in search of oxygen, but yeah, I died. This Grandma Clara came out of nowhere on her raft and told me she was hunting a great white shark named Klaus who had killed her husband, and she demanded I go looking for him. You cannot argue with a grandma, so I agreed to keep an eye out. I returned to the glacial area and went on the search for a lost baby manatee, and after breaking the ice, I enjoyed the most epic petting minigame again, before defending the little guy from a narwhal, and then a shark. With the manatee rescued, I headed to this cave entrance, but the strong current blocked me from entering, when out of nowhere that beluga I gave the antidote to came to the rescue. After crashing through many ice walls and dodging many jellies, we arrived at a rather big jelly, and yet again this boss had a vulnerable eyeball. If these bosses just invested in some sturdy goggles, they would be unbeatable. The big jelly sent its minions at me and shot boogers at me, but I shot a beluga into its eyeball repeatedly, and everyone knows beluga beats jelly, so in short order I came out a winner. In the next room I pulled the big switch and activated the second device. That made 2 out of 3, and it also reduced the temperature spilling out of the control room, so I was now able to descend into the final region, the hydrothermal vents. Down here were ancient creatures, including this chunky boy with an armored back but a rather vulnerable belly. I had its corpse ferried to the surface. I fought this xenocanthus and a number of smaller fish too. Down in the middle here was the entrance to the Divine Tree control room, still sealed for now, and over to the right, my guy Suam, with whom I entered the last of the 3 glacial caves. And then my dreams came true. I was able to play as Suam. I could switch between Dave and Suam, one above and one underwater, and I completed a series of puzzles with each character helping the other out to progress.
Yeah, Dave. Nice one.
With some choice dodging of danger, some rotational shenanigans, some divine fruit sharing and laser beaming, and of course the power of friendship, the boys were soon pulling switches simultaneously, so both of them could continue on together. For this part, I had to control both at the same time. You can see the controls for each of them down here. And while I genuinely loved the gameplay in this section, there's no denying I was very uncoordinated. It was pushing buttons and holding switches and pulling pulleys, and as I progressed, I got a little more comfortable controlling the 2 fellas. I was even able to pull off some of these ones, positioning them both safely to avoid being crushed. In this section, I had an umbrella made of concrete protecting the boys from spiky ice, and then we were greeted by a good-looking friend.
Helicoprion.
Suam did what he does best for this fight. He hid like a brave Atlantean, but he was actually pretty handy up there as I used him to poke these divine tree fruits, stunning the beast and giving Dave time to go nuts and deal big damage. And it was big damage indeed, as I'd found multiple weapon upgrades on this run, so my harpoon was level 4 poison, and my gun was level 3. It made the fight pretty quick. Conveniently, the Helicoprion's death flail cleared a path forward. I grabbed some loot, and in the next room we displayed one last glorious effort of teamwork to activate the final contraption, which finally granted access to the control room, except not really, because when I got there I discovered a bunch of roots had jammed the door. And out of nowhere, the hypocrite John Watson, who no doubt funded the creation of his fancy submarine with the blood of many a dolphin. I dodged his bombs, but I couldn't work out how I was supposed to deal damage to his chunky sub, and when he began to charge up a big attack... What?
Oh, John Watson, you just got John Watson.
So I guess I'm fighting this Chronosaurus now. I picked up the big torpedo gun thingo from John Watson's submarine and used it to deal big damage, and I harpooned the big fella to get that poison damage ticking.
Oh! Can I use it again? Nope, I'm done. What the hell? You just sucked it up. Oh gosh. I need health. Okay. Oh, fire beam. How am I supposed to deal with that?
Apparently the big fella sucking up the gun had magically repaired it. So I had another shot, dealing another juicy 300 damage, and then I figured out an ingenious strategy.
We got the spinny tactics. It's working flawlessly. He doesn't know what to do. My spinning is too strong. Poison him.
I guess when you're that big of a monster, it's kind of hard to turn around quickly. So yeah, I cheesed the rest of the fight with this ridiculous technique. Apparently Duff and Bacon had put together an explorer drone, because here it came out of nowhere, and it conveniently had a laser beam attachment. So it began work cutting through the roots so we could access the final area. It was going to take a couple of days to cut through though, so after claiming some meat from the dinosaur, I headed up to the surface.
57% in the hydrothermal vents, just like that.
I headed down for a nighttime dive, because I had a vortex to find. I encountered my first zebra shark on the way, and once in the vortex I met my good friend Klaus.
Alright Klaus, come on, let's dance.
I was supposed to call Clara so she could join me to get vengeance for her husband's death, but I realized I didn't have her number, so I guess it was up to me to defeat the Great White.
Woo! He's so big.
I shot Klaus in the face a bunch, but he was hard to dodge.
Bro, he's shooting whirlwinds at me.
I lasted longer on attempt 2, but ultimately it was a repeat. And on attempt 3, I tried to keep my distance, but it was almost impossible. In this clip, I'm literally off screen to the left opening an O2 canister, which kept me alive, but it almost wasn't enough.
How do I deal with this? Oh, did I somehow get him? Yeah.
And so Clara's husband was avenged. I continued enhancing dishes, training up my staff and selling that sushi. I spent day 28 down in the glacial area and hydrothermal vents, collecting big fish that sell well, any new fish varieties, items and objectives needed for eco goals, and even a tasteful photograph. That night I enhanced narwhal sushi some more, increasing its taste score to 280. I sold steamed Chronosaurus tongue at $724 a dish, and rank 4 veggie sushi which went for $712 a dish. And I had by far my most profitable night ever. As I was cleaning up at the end of the shift, I thought I heard something outside, and it was Momo the cat. I stealthily followed him and discovered he was visiting his family. They spotted me, but because I'd been giving Momo lots of treats, he was warm to me, and I ended up bringing back the whole fam to hang out at the sushi bar. Heartwarming stuff. I found another fishmon the next morning, this pointy jellyfish, and I continued much the same as yesterday, collecting stuff to make more money and work towards completion of my goals. That night we had the Fry the Sea cook-off, and I once again took control of Bancho's prep like an absolute pro, and honestly the other bloke's dish on the left there looks way better to me, but once again we got a score of 99, winning the competition. As a reward we received a cocktail machine, so cocktails were now on the menu. I enhanced vegetable sushi up to level 5, making it worth $825 a dish, and enjoyed another solid night of profit. Because I'd cleared 250 taste score when I enhanced the narwhal sushi, I was able to go up another cookster rank, which earned me some rewards, and the drone was done cutting, so it was finally time for me to enter the Divine Tree control room. I had to use a big chunky snail to weigh down this pulley and open the door, and so began the adventure through this final portion of the game. I fought a few lobstery boys before using one of these mutated Divine Tree fruits to blow up the sap, clearing the way. Had some more snail fun to block these vents, causing this volcano thingo to erupt, clearing the way again, and after dodging some toasty bursts, I made it through to this room, where a strange substance was all over the roots of the tree. Yaoi eggs. Remember that ancient dude that used divine fruits to accidentally turn some sea people into zombies? He tried the same thing with yaois as well, and apparently they still lived down here. In the next room, I whipped out a divine fruit laser beam to fight the beasts. I also had a lightning harpoon tip, so I got off some very satisfying chain lightnings as well. Behind this delicious mucus, I discovered the cause of the earthquakes, and all the troubles with the divine tree.
These weird creatures are clinging to the Divine Tree's butt.
I shooed the little yaois away, and the tree seemed to begin returning to normal, but I don't think the big mama was very happy with my treatment of her babies.
That's a terrifying beast.
Bacon's drone joined me, and it turns out Duff installed some pretty impressive weaponry on this thing. So I grabbed a hold of it and began my battle with the yaoi. This thing shot pretty fast, and the big yaoi sent more of its babies at me, and then turned around and shot orbs out of its butt at me, but my absolute barrage of chunky bullets protected me from all of those attacks. Things got a little dicey when it flung all these red thingos, but this drone wasn't merely a machine gun. It also had the ability to slow time. So I used a little time dilation to make dodging the swarm of red easier. I got through phase 1, but the beast didn't seem to be too bothered. So Duff unlocked an extra weapon on the drone, the Stellar Laser. This one took some charging up, but it did way more damage. So once I had some space after dodging more red swarms and some beams of fire, I charged it up.
Oh, I did a big thing. But he hit me.
I was now within one hit of dying, but I got a couple more big shots off, along with tons of machine gun shots. And soon the yaoi was losing strength, and we moved into phase 3, the chase. It was a lively one, with a new variety of red things to dodge, but then...
Oh, what?
I restarted the chase and still had a bit of a rough time of it, but I'd of course restarted at full O2, so I was able to take a few hits. The main hit I took was when we exchanged beams. Very dramatic stuff. Eventually the tables turned and the beast began chasing me in a last-ditch attempt to defeat me. So I dodged its fire beams as I fled upwards, and soon we'd returned all the way back up the top. And after a couple of cinematic dodges from Big Dave, the beast crashed through the wall and was crushed and entangled by roots and mucus. But the drone was broken in the process, and I had no way of finishing it off, when all of a sudden a bunch of my sea people buddies appeared out of nowhere. They used their collective mermaid strength to lift up this big thingo, and I placed the divine fruit in there, and a huge beam of energy burst forth, finishing off the yaoi once and for all. And with that, the divine tree was freed from its tormentors, and balance was restored in the ecosystem. The sea people thanked me, and I headed back up for a party with my human buddies, including Duff, who attended in hologram form. We shared some beers and took a banger selfie, and the game was over. Life went on. The sea people made a majestic statue of me. Friendships thrived, and it was a job well done for Big Dave.
Bro, why's it got to bookend the whole video with his nasty feet, man? Give me a break.
And for the post-credits, I dived into space and shot at the developers.
Top tier end credits, no doubt.
And so the game was complete, but it's only day 30, and I thought it would be a little bit too cheeky to title the video I played 100 minus 70 days of Dave the Diver. So as you know, we're going for 100%. Also, there's actually a fair bit to see in the post game. But what is 100% of this game? I have no idea, so I made up my own rules. I was aiming for 100% of the Marinka Pokedex, excluding the Tamagotchi thing because it's annoying and I couldn't be bothered. I wanted 100% of the Eco Watcher goals completed and 100% of the Steam achievements, of which I had about 15 left to get at this point. So I had some work to do. The Marinka app tells you the specific area the fish appear in, and I discovered some of them were photos I needed to take, and some of them were in caves that I'd previously cleared. For example, this eel was in one of the glacial puzzle caves. And I still needed money for a bunch of the achievements. For example, I needed to buy all the farm upgrades and train one staff member to level 20, which added up to over 200 grand worth of expenses. So I made sure to catch lots of profitable fish too. One achievement was to sell 200 items to the Sea People blacksmith, so I began selling stuff to him, and I constantly farmed, harvesting and replanting eggplant, carrot, and rice so that I could serve veggie sushi for big monies. I took out a bunch of jellies for Eco Watcher, I caught a lined seahorse, and I took a photo of a leatherback turtle. I knocked over some Eco Watcher fossils and invasive fish nonsense, and I noticed there are a couple of nighttime fish I needed from the medium depth region, so I tracked down both of them. I expanded the veggie farm to max size, earning a Steam achievement, and I had a great session in the glacier zone, capturing the few remaining fish for the Marinka, including a couple of photos. Bancho had another cook-off, this one against this Italian bloke, and he of course won, and I had a record profit thanks to the sale of 19 veggie sushi. For winning the Italian food cook-off, Lois Crawford helped us open up a Bancho Sushi beachside branch, and it was my job to outfit it with a manager, staff, and ingredients. I used my rich man profits to upgrade my rice paddy size to max, and added a sprinkler to the farm. 2 more Steam achievements right there. And I caught a seahorse that only spawns after you collect rubies, and it has a low spawn rate, so I was delighted to find it on my second attempt.
Oh yes, we got it.
I sold more stuff to Old Mate Mermaid Blacksmith for another Steam achievement. I took a photo of the last remaining Sea People mural, another achievement, and I sent some staff and ingredients over to our new branch. But all that achieved for now was a reduced profit at the main restaurant and a pathetic $310 profit at the branch. Business expansion is hard. I made a habit of feeding the cats cat food, as I needed to do this 20 times for an achievement. I made some progress for the Shallows Pokedex, taking this incredibly beautiful blue whale photo, and to hit 100% of the medium depth Marinka, I caught this blue-headed tilefish and Atlantic bonito. I continued collecting pink seashells as I needed 15 more for an Eco Watcher goal, and I needed just one more photo of a turtle to complete the Shallows Marinka. So I began a ritual of checking to find it, but I did not find it for ages. I knocked over that jelly Eco Watcher task, and now I just had 3 more left. And I continued growing my staff some more by hiring Billy and Carolina. Profits climbed slightly, even the branch made $10 more, huge gains. I used them profits to hire 2 more staff, and I did a bunch of training to make sure no one sucked too much, and now both my main and branch restaurants were fully staffed. The branch can only serve up to a limited rank of ingredients based on your manager's level, so I got the manager Kyoko to level 12 so she could serve rank 7 stuff over there, and she became my work in progress towards level 20 for that achievement. I found another fishmon and a spotted sea dragon, only 2 more seahorses to go. Also, my Gyao evolved into a turtle. I know I said I'm not bothering to 100% the Tamagotchi nerds, but I did need 5 for a Steam achievement, so I was working towards that. After a long hunt, I found the tiger tail seahorse, just 1 underwater horsey boy to go, and I returned to record-breaking profits, and the branch was on the improve as well. I trained up Kyoko a couple more times, and the levels were starting to get expensive at more than 10k a pop. Progress slowed down a lot at this point, as I kept diving and simply could not find some of the elusive fish I was after. I did at least finally collect 15 pink seashells. Just 2 more Eco Watcher goals to go.
Oh, this could be it. Yes! Yes! A zebra seahorse!
I don't know how that got so high-pitched, but to be fair, I'd been searching for the flamin' zebra seahorse for days at this point. 100% of seahorses in the bag. Leveling Kyoko from 15 to 16 cost me 23 grand. Holy moly, it was getting expensive. I finally got a shallow seed featuring striped catfish and sheep's head, which I killed to tick off my second last Eco Watcher goal. Oh, and check it out. By this point on day 40, the branch was earning me a cheeky 4 grand profit extra each night. I then spent 2 whole days, that's 4 dives total, checking in the daytime shallows for a turtle, but I could not find it. I did get another fishmon though, completing a Steam achievement to collect 5. And I grew bored of the shallows, so I forgot about the turtle for now and hit up the frosty zone.
I didn't find anything though.
I finally accumulated enough likes to go up another Cookster rating, so I hit Diamond, the highest rank, and unlocked another Steam achievement. I found the Jade Pedestal, completing my final Eco Watcher goal, a very good feeling, and I went on the grind to find Mjolnir, an extremely rare melee weapon needed to get an achievement. Somehow, I found it only after a few resets, and I yoinked it from the ice.
Yeah, boy.
I threw it at this poor fish, killing it to unlock the achievement God of Lightning. I then spent several days in a row looking for the flaming turtle, but I could not find the flaming turtle. I did at least make copious amounts of money selling veggie sushi, allowing me to level Kyoko up to level 19. Leveling from 18 to 19 cost 69 grand. On day 49, I finally fed the cats for the 20th time, and I finally got Kyoko to level 20. This last level cost 99 grand. That was 2 more Steam achievements, and just 2 more to go. And on that morning dive, I finally found the flamin' turtle. Finally. Finally, indeed, the Marinka was 100% complete. Except, of course, for the Tamagotchi, but we've been over that. And all I needed now was 1 more Gyao evolution to unlock a Steam achievement, plus 1 more secret Steam achievement. I got to work looking after my Tamagotchi, hoping it would evolve into a new species. I skipped all my dives and all my evenings at the sushi bar because I no longer needed either of them. It was all about the Tamagotchi. It wasn't great business practice though, as I still had to pay my staff, so I was operating at a deficit. But who cares, it's all about the Tamagotchi. I let the poo and sickness build up, and finally this idiot died, so I was able to start again with this little tadpole. And a few days later, it evolved into a beluga, and I got the achievement to raise 5 Gyaos. I only unlocked 3 different varieties because I actually raised 2 dolphins and 2 belugas, but thankfully that counted and I could move on to the final secret achievement: to kill all of the developers of Dave the Diver. I headed into space and off I went, shooting at all these names. Shout out to these guys, by the way. They developed a truly impressive game that I had a lot of fun playing. And once I'd killed them all, I earned myself the achievement Dev Killer, and I said, that, my friends, is 100% of Dave the Diver. If you enjoyed this, you should go check out my Tears of the Kingdom 100 Days. It is excellent.